I'm Christina Fugis with MoldMaking Technology, and I am here with Alex Beaumont, who is the Vice President of Beaumont Technologies.
How you doing?
How are you?
We're doing
Welcome.
good. Happy to be in person.
So why don't we first start by you giving us a little bit of background on who you are and what's your journey into plastics and mold making?
Sure. Well, started back, I guess, 2003 at a first college internship at Rare Pacific, a custom injection molder in Erie, Pennsylvania. I was also going through the plastics program at Penn State Erie, who my father, John Beaumont, helped start and head up. So I had to have him as a teacher too, which is awesome.
Wow, that could be a whole other conversation.
Yeah, exactly. But after that, graduated in 2006, worked for Flambeau Incorporated, worked there for about 4 or 5 years, and then came on board to Beaumont thereafter, and here we are.
So working somewhere else, was that your decision, or did your dad
Both
want you to
of
work?
us.
Okay.
At that time, we were small enough, we didn't know, basically a guy left, and we said either we're gonna come on now, or we might not know if there's a position down the road. We don't know if we're gonna grow.
That's true.
So I looked at the wife, and we moved home, and here we are.
Here we are. All right, so you have to agree with me. This whole plastics and mold making industry is really a community.
Sure.
So what inspires you about this community?
I just realized, and the more you talk to people that aren't in the industry, don't realize how truly big it is. Everything we do, every new invention, new idea, plastics involved in one way or the other. And so I guess what inspires me is to continue to promote that in a positive way versus a lot of the negativity you might hear out there.
Yep.
And realizing how much we need it, truly. So I guess that's inspirational.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great message for anybody that is out there that is interested in this marketplace or this community. It's important, it's vital.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's get to the nuts and bolts of who Beaumont is, because now I know this is a big story. I don't think I ever really fully understood it. So let's start at the beginning.
All right. So, as mentioned, John Beaumont's my father. He was the head of the plastics department at Penn State for 25 years, but came up with an invention to what's known as the industry still as melt flipper.
Yep.
So it's still there today. It's probably about 10% of the overall business, but that's where it started. So he bought those patents off the university, the company started, and this is where it began. So naturally we're doing a lot of engineering consulting, explaining why you need melt flipper, understanding plastic flow. It's kind of naturally almost doing training initially. After a couple of years at Penn State, there was also what was called the CAE Consortium. So they provided simulation services to the industry. They lost funding, so we decided they were such a good entity, we absorbed them, and that's what started Beaumont Development.
Okay.
So Beaumont Development is strictly they offer the mold simulation services, and we're one of the biggest in the country now, but continue to grow and offer that. We're expert certified through MoldFo, the General Motors GM certification, so that group is the Beaumont Development Group specifically. Another couple of years later, we're always doing this engineering consulting, a lot of OEMs, more naturally, and they kind of pushed us in that maybe it's the comfort level of, hey, why don't you start molding this for us? Why don't you do the product process launch and validation? And we had machines already for a lot of R&D and some of the training stuff. So we put them to use, and that Beaumont Advanced Processing began then. So that's continued to grow, and now we have 28 machines. We have our ISO 9001 and 1345 for medical. We have a Class 8 clean room. But it's, again, we're not going to be competing with the high volume molders. This is more specialized, focused, smaller, maybe smaller volume, but again, product launch and validation is kind of the main focus there. And maybe you'll hand it off to another molder, but we are molding, it's open, that's what Beaumont Advanced Processing does. But in the end, it's just helping get a product to market, regardless if we're doing the consulting or what. But thereafter, a couple of years later, John Beaumont retired from the university, and he had a very big passion for education and workforce development, and so that's when we started the American Injection Molding Institute officially. Okay. So we're always offering training, smaller level, but that's where you see the industry need, that's all you hear about. So that offers everything from beginner level up to multi-week programs, tested courses for the 30-year veteran or master molder. We have everything in between. So that's the American Injection Molding Institute.
Okay.
So a couple years thereafter, we're offering MoldFlow as a service. So we've always been naturally questioning the results, telling them maybe you might want to fix this in the software to help them. When Autodesk purchased MoldFlow is this tiny entity to a huge multi-billion-dollar Autodesk. So I think they realized they weren't going to have as much of a focus or R&D perhaps into improving or upkeeping it. They recognized us as being the ones that were questioning it and getting into it. So it's been about 4 years now, but they gave us their entire material characterization business. So they moved that from Ithaca, New York to us. So we still handle everything in North America and Europe. So anytime you need a material characterized to run a mold flow, it has to go through these tests, and that goes through us now. They still have the plant in Australia that covers that side of the world, but if you're getting material characterized on this side, you have to go through us. So that the relationship with mold flow just has continued to grow. So we have material testing, we offer the service, we offer, basically, they even approached us to become resellers of the program the last couple of years. I know, there's a lot of stuff going on there. But also now the trainer, how to train the program. So everything mold flow, we're the only ones that can say that have that everything internally in one house. So with that, yeah, it's a lot. That's why it's hard to answer what we do because it's too much, but it's Beaumont Advanced Processing. We basically put the material characterization group within that. So now we have Beaumont Advanced Processing, which kind of split up into multiple groups also.
Okay.
So
here we go.
Yes. So within the Beaumont Advanced Processing, so you have the molding already. Now you have the material characterization and testing. Within that is also test specimen molding. It's like ISO or ASTM test bars.
Okay. Yep.
So a lot of companies and the need for that, looking for replacement materials out there. A lot of the higher end companies, OEMs, again, looking for recycled resins or anything. So that business grew a lot. So Beaumont material characterization and testing, that's one other group under the Beaumont BAT processing. But the biggest new one as of January 1st, basically we recognized last year we were using 85 to 90% of this tool shop local to us business.
Okay.
It was natural for us to just buy them, purchase them as of January 1st. So streamline everything, really make us, truly a one-stop shop for anything. You need help.
That's the part that interests me.
Right.
You finally got to the tooling part of it.
Yes. So now we're going through, it was an older shop, but
Okay.
it's, so we're going through updating the facility, learning the people, just trying to get everything up to standard that will be acceptable.
Now, is this the same thing where you're not really competing with mold builders?
Correct.
It's all like you're all that front end though. Like you're helping to research and helping them make a better product by offering these services, right?
Yeah.
Internally.
Yeah, and in the end, I'll say it's like we're either going to help you make it better, teach you how to make it better yourself, or we'll just make it for you.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, we do overlap with some people. That just is what it is.
How many people do you have employed now?
We have there's 112 now. So the last few years have been a lot of growth, and we're trying to figure it out, and it's been good so far though.
So it had to be challenging the past 2.5 years.
Yes.
So let's talk about that a little bit. For anybody in general, all this, we didn't have interaction, you didn't have education in terms of in-person, so how did you do all that growth and continue? I know AIM came up with different ways of doing stuff, right?
Correct.
How about your own employees?
Everyone had to adapt, obviously, but looking at even AIM specifically, so that's the training and everything, and obviously that's in person, so that was hit hard. So, but what it forced us to do, what we hadn't done in the past, was offer online courses. So it kind of forced that hand on us, it turned out to be great, and now it's added to our library of offerings, so that's been good. The other side, the manufacturing, R&D, consulting, it was booming. It just, everyone was trying to do new stuff. It just didn't, thankfully, maybe it's the markets we were in, didn't see a lull already. Yeah, so it's been good.
That's awesome. That's great for you. That's not, everybody can't say that.
No, we're thankful. We're blessed.
All right, so how about we talk about this new workforce development program?
Sure.
Because what I liked about it was you were quoted as saying, or somebody was, turns employees into an elite workforce.
Sounds
I just
good,
love
doesn't
that.
it?
It does sound, that's great marketing. But break that down.
Yeah.
What is this program?
No, absolutely. So this is basically, we developed, again, the biggest need out there is people trying to find good people. It's all everyone preaches about.
Yep.
And you got recruiters everywhere snatching them up for the next few $1,000s higher. So looking at that specific need, so we realized we have all these education offerings. We have the whole library from beginner to experience, like I mentioned. So now we go to a company, we want them to focus on finding good people, someone that are going to fall into their values, that they trust, that they know aren't going to leave for the next a little bit higher paying job. So they focus on that. They give us job descriptions at the technical level that their expectations of that personnel. Then they come to us. We'll basically give them an enrollment evaluation online. It takes about half hour, 45 minutes of general questions, what temperature does it take water to boil? It's like random, just to pick their brain. And there is plastic specific categories. And we'll take those results at the end and review them with their manager and them, whomever, and say, okay, this is how they scored. Let's look at the job description and what you're expecting of them again. Are they at the technical level you think it makes sense, or no, truly this is not where they are? If they're not, let's give them a pathway of courses that they can get to the point where they're trained up to the technical expertise that you're expecting, and you have someone that you trust and value in your company. So it's kind of
I like how you're blending almost those soft skills with the hard technical skills.
Right.
And it's a lot like I have a son who's special needs, and his whole educational career is based on like individualized education plan. And that's exactly what you're doing, right? You're focusing on just that whole person and making an education plan or training program just for each employee. Right. Is that the purpose of it, right? So you're
100%.
getting exactly, and actually you're catering everything to them.
Yeah.
How they need to learn, right? Some people learn auditorily, visually, all that kind of stuff. Does that all play into?
100%. That's exactly what we're looking for. Because not everyone's needs to be at this level.
Yep.
Maybe people just need to be this level. Even somebody in a marketing group, like they don't need all this extra stuff, but take these, talk the talk a little bit.
How has that taken off?
It's done well. I mean, we're just started kicking it off this year, but it's done great. I mean, companies really, I think, appreciate it because you aren't, like you said, you aren't just saying, take this program for all your employees.
Yep.
No, let's slow down. What makes sense for this person based off of the level you want them to be? So that's what we're going for, and it's worked so far. Hopefully it spreads.
What are you not going to do? What are you not? Right?
I don't know.
That's tough because you've really expanded that whole story.
Yeah.
That's a menu of options.
I mean, it's listening to the customers through the years. It's really like, well, why aren't you doing this? Well, why aren't you doing, you're already doing this. Why wouldn't you help us all the way through to the final product?
Just listening to the customer.
It is.
Well, thank you, Alex. I think it was a great story.
Yes,
I think I understand the company better now, so I'm glad that we spent this time together.
Appreciate it.
Now, before I go, I have one last request of you. We have our t-shirts this year.
Nice.
Which are #MoldMake, and we're saying molds make a difference. I want you to fill in the blank, Alex. Molds make...
Vision a reality.
Another good one. Molds make Vision a reality by Alex Beaumont of Beaumont Technologies. And for everything mold making, visit moldmakingtechnology.com.